We're here with some of the USA Wrestling support staff for 2019 Worlds. We'll go left to right. We have Shelby Hoppus, Amy Murray, and Rosie May. So Shelby is our athletic trainer, Amy is our massage therapist, and Rosie is our chiropractor for the tournament, the camp, and all of that. Just want to get your thoughts so far on Sicily. I don't care who goes first, how you guys want to figure that out, but thoughts on Sicily and being out here before World Championships.
I mean, I think it's a gorgeous setting. The beach is wonderful. It gives the women a chance to kind of relax in this nice environment. You know, the focus is still camp and hard work, but it's nice to be in a beautiful place.
Yeah, solid recovery, hard work close by at the gym, and solid recovery at the beach. And we've got treatments in the afternoon. It's all right here. We don't have to go very far.
Definitely, this experience is really good for them mentally too, to allow them to just get in state before this next season. So it should be amazing.
Yeah. Shelby, talk a little bit about your role out here. I think people, when they think athletic trainer, they think they've got an idea, but could you go a little more specific on, the importance of your role and being out at a camp so early?
Yeah, I think, athletes at this level or any level, injuries happen. For instance, why I still have a job. But athletes are dealing with different things at different times. There are things that they may have been dealing with and they're on the upswing right before competition, and to be able to kind of provide care for them while they're at the site, whether that is looking at like a treatment, some manual therapies, taping, or some new things may pop up. I mean, this is wrestling, so things happen here, but being available to them and being able to be on site and help coordinate that care. One of the really nice things is to be able to work with these other healthcare practitioners and being able to kind of to share that journey and to have each person utilize their skill set, because we all do slightly different things, but when we're able to kind of work together to provide that care, it's that's what we love to be able to do for the athlete.
Yeah. Amy, why is your job important out here? It's not just luxury for these girls.
It's not. It's more than rubbing mineral oil on for the suntan. So at this point in the game, they've already pushed through their hard training peak. They're doing that final touch work, and it's the same on my end for the body work. We're trying to get those muscles smooth and conditioned and ready to go, work on any kinks that may have been lingering for a long time, get those recovery flushes in after they work out, collaborate with these two beautiful women to get those bodies ready to compete next week. Yeah, so it's a lot deeper work and a lot more involved than most people think, but definitely necessary for the team performance.
Yeah, what specific massages do you, or what types do you?
So it depends what we're doing. So I've been doing this for 24 years. I have lots of tools in my bag, lots of different modalities, myofascial release. Everything kind of has a Swedish massage base, but I've got cupping, scraping with the tools, taping, those kinds of things if they're needed. Flushes are just quick and simple work for recovery after training or between competition bouts. We do deeper work if we need to, if there's been injuries that we're working through, that kind of thing, specifically on each athlete, what they need. So it's tailored to what they need.
So you're not just before and after competition, you're right in the middle of it too, as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Rosie, you have been doing this for 10 years with our women's program. Talk about what it's been like just being on this journey. Our program has grown so much in the last 10 years. I think Terry said your first camp was in Germany. Just take me through a little bit of the growth that you've seen.
I think in general, I mean, the program has changed so much. Just the wrestling itself with the women, it's been amazing to see the changes, and what I love most out of anything is seeing the girls flourish. I mean, they've been blossoming. Whitney Condor, Adeline Gray, I saw them at the first camp I ever went in 2009, and just to even see them to this day just grow as people. Individually, they are just doing amazing in who they are and who they've become and how they've matured. I think that these kind of camps really bring these girls together to grow as people and as individuals and mature, and it's just been beautiful to watch.
Yeah. You guys, I know Shelby mentioned the other day, these women have to start getting into their routine And so it's important that they start making you a part of their routine. I guess how do you help facilitate that, because you have so many women that are here? How do you work through everybody?
So I think one of the things is meeting the athletes where they are, getting used to our presence, because we're not at the training center every day, and so the better they kind of get to know us and our individual skill sets, the more they utilize us, and figure out how we fit. To me, it's something that I'm never pressuring an athlete to utilize these things, because they know their body best. They've been doing this for a while at a very high level. So making sure that they know the services that we provide and can provide, but also letting them do their thing. That's what's made them great.
Yeah. And then, Amy, how important is it for you to kind of know their routine as well?
Absolutely. We talk about it right from the beginning. Like, I want them to think about this week what they want their game day to look like and how I can help them, so that way when things are on the go, we're put together, we're where we need to be. Some people like a warm-up massage shakeout in the morning. Some people want specific arm work when they're done with matches, and it's really important, I think, to have that game plan, just like you would when you visualize going out on the mat, how you're going to do your whole competition day when you get to this point. In any sport that I worked with, competition prep is just so important.
Yeah. Rosie, I just kind of dived into your history with the team, but be a little more, like, can you, be a little more specific on your job and kind of what it looks like for you at a tournament
with
like this?
chiropractic, most people think of it as only for injuries, but the truth is structure determines function and function determines health. And when I help these athletes, the biggest intent is to remove interference to their nervous system so that their bodies can actually perform and function the way they're designed to perform. And when there's interference to that nervous system, your body can't heal and express the way it's designed. So what I love is to not only teach these girls and adjust and make sure that their bodies are working at 100% of their potential, so that they can go be the athletes and use the everything they've worked so hard for their skills to their maximum effort.
Yeah. Amy, people might be interested to know, like, how you guys get selected for camps like this or world championships like this. Can you kind of take us through that process a little bit?
Sure. I've worked with a variety of other sports and did the USOPC now rotation. Let's see, probably in 2011, 2010. And I just happened to have a lot of wrestlers at the camp that I was working at. And in the area I grew up, Wisconsin, Minnesota, wrestling is kind of just very prevalent. So while I wasn't a wrestler myself, I've definitely been a part of wrestling family for a long time. And so just getting in there and working with wrestlers, and that was noticed apparently at some point. And I think Cody needed somebody for a freestyle men's World Cups, where I kind of started with the men's World Cups.
Oh, okay.
And so I worked with men's freestyle for a few years before coming aboard more with the women.
Okay. And how many trips have you done?
Wow, a lot.
A lot.
A lot, yeah. Starting back in those first 4M days, those were the LA World Cups. Those, I did all three of those, and then I've done, I think my first World Championships with women was Las Vegas, back in 2015. Yeah.
And I think we've actually kind of come into it a little bit different, each of us.
Yeah.
I was kind of working wrestling at 3 different universities, and it was suggested by some of the coaches that I worked with to apply to be in the medical pool. And so I did it from that application standpoint, and kind of worked in that way with some references and things, and then kind of got on my first trip that way. After that, I went on my first trip before I did my 2 weeks at the USOPC. And so, but I kind of realized there was probably a few skill sets and programming things that I could kind of learn more about from an administrative level, especially being out at the training center. And so that was important for me to choose to do in addition. And so I'm kind of a newbie, where I've done about 3 trips and 1 finalist. So.
Yeah. Was Junior Pan Am's your first one last year?
No, I actually went to the World Cup in Russia with the women in 2017, and so that was, I got right in there in Russia.
Yeah, you sure did.
So,
Rosie, how'd you get involved?
So I started in 2009. I was actually asked to see if I wanted to come and work with these athletes, never had been into wrestling or never even knew about wrestling, especially with women. And I came and I fell in love with just the girls, and Terry has been a phenomenal coach, and just fell in love with it. And so I kept showing up. Year after year. Went to 2012, 2016 Olympics and worked with them. And I just think that the biggest thing that's kept me going is just they become family. And so I just keep showing up, and I don't get paid for this. I actually pay for my own travel. I paid to come here, but I love it because it's become something that has become my family.
Yeah, it is a volunteer position.
Yes.
So is it difficult for you guys to get away for the 2-3 weeks, or are your jobs pretty understanding? I mean, it's a big deal. You're with Team USA, right?
So for me, I've actually made a transition job-wise. I'm no longer in the university setting. I've actually recently taken a position at St. Luke's Hospital System in Eastern Pennsylvania. And for me, one of the great things about this position is they're very supportive of me doing these things. They see it as professional development and opportunities to work with athletes at this level, as well as other practitioners that have spent time at this level to grow and to be able to bring things back. And so they've been really great as I transition to this new job. They're like, what do you got to do? We'll make it happen. And so that's really nice to have that support.
Yeah, the volunteer piece is hard for some people to understand. And I work with a few different NGBs also, so I do travel quite a bit. But for me, it doesn't feel like volunteer work in the sense of, it feels like good volunteer work in the sense of I don't feel like I'm being taken advantage of.
Oh, right.
I get just as much or more out of this than I feel like I'm being used for, in the sense of working with allied health professionals in all the sports I work with. I own my own clinic, so my patients and clients at home understand that I do travel. So that's who I have to answer to. And my family, I have to kind of, keep tabs of them while I'm gone, which can be tough. It would be nice to make money, but I do feel like I get so much out of these trips professionally, working with everyone. We're in an environment where no one makes excuses. And when you can call the kind of people you want to be around to people that are always challenging themselves, always trying to think of the next best way to be themselves, between coaches, staff, and athletes, everybody here is that same type of person. And so it's kind of, addictive being around that kind of personality all the time, where we all are always sharing notes and trading, tips and tricks, and, athletes are doing the same, the coaches are doing the same, and we're all trying to be better. And so it's an environment that I get a lot from. Yeah.
Rosie, is it tough?
I agree with both of them. I think just being surrounded by these athletes who just have just a love for what they do, and like you said, being around just the love for the sport, but also the mindset that you can be addicted to. We just spent doing some time meditation last night, and the sports psychologist led it, and it's just beautiful to watch these people not only grow in their physical sport, but in their mental capacity, and it's just addicting.
Yeah.
She said.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts on camp or leading into Worlds, anything like that?
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
They're going to do so well. Yeah, it's such a good group. It's such a great group.
And that's what I've noticed. This group is so much fun. They have so much energy, and just it becomes so exciting to watch, and I think they're going to dominate.
Yeah, let's hope so. I think so too. All right, thanks, ladies.
Thanks,
We
Taylor.
are here in Sicily, Italy with the Women's Acclimation Camp. We've got Karen Kogan, our sports psychologist, and Taylor Maggio, our team nutritionist. We're just going to kind of dive into what you guys do and why you're here. So I'll start with you, Karen. Can you kind of explain to us what your job is?
Yes, well, I'm a sports psychologist and also a psychologist. So in terms of the sports psychology part of things, what we're looking at is helping athletes develop good mental game plans. So how they handle the pressures of competition, how they deal with distractions, and we talk about a lot of tools to use, things like mindfulness meditation, imagery. We talk in a team setting about the things that they'll face and potential obstacles. And then on the psychology end of things, they're not just athletes, they're whole people. So if there are things going on in their lives that are stressors that could impact their training and their competition, we want to deal with those up front on and before they become an issue, so that they can compete at their best always.
Very cool. Taylor, what does your job look like?
Yeah, so I'm a registered dietitian here as a support staff. So basically helping the team with anything and everything that I can. Some of my big roles here, since we're in a different area, foods are unfamiliar, so I want to make sure that the athletes are comfortable and taken care of. So that's working with the kitchen on making sure we have the proper foods that the athletes need. So we create kind of a performance plate with lean proteins to build and repair muscles, and carbohydrates and fruits and vegetables. So I kind of help out in the kitchen, and then also at training, making sure they're fueled properly and they have recovery, talking with the athletes every day. And also, like, I work with some of them back home on meal plans for weight management, because we're getting close to going to Kazakhstan next week. So I want to make sure I'm helping out the athletes any way that I can.
So Karen, why is it important that these athletes have you around prior to competition?
Well, at this point, all these athletes are good, and anybody they face in competition is also going to be good and wants the gold medal. So what my goal is to help these athletes have a little bit of an edge. So if they have a good mental game plan, that's the thing that is potentially going to put them on top.
Yeah. Taylor, what about you? Because I mean, of course they should ideally have their weight under control at this point, but I mean, you still play a role there. Why is it important that you're here on a trip with them?
Right. Okay. So, like I said earlier, we're support staff. Like our coaches, Terry and Clarissa, and all those supporting coaches that came. We want them to focus on that. And then the athletes, it's such a high stress time for them, and that's great while we have Karen here. But I want to make sure that they don't have to focus on the food. They don't have to worry about what they're going to eat or when they should eat it, or for weight management, like, how do I get down? I want to take that stress out. And when you're traveling, it's even higher, and you have those unfamiliar foods. So I want to be there to support the athletes, and I think that's extremely important. And like I said, I'm here for the Acclimation Camp, and then our senior sports dietitian, Rob Skinner, will meet up with them in Kazakhstan, and he'll be doing the same thing. So we just all kind of support each other. I think that's important.
Yeah. Karen, can you kind of elaborate on some of the techniques and the skills that you do put these women through at this camp?
Yes, so I meet with them individually one-on-one, and whatever they need there, we work on, and everybody's a little bit different. But in general, and as a group, we've been doing some things together, and one is mindfulness meditation. We've been doing that every day for those who are interested, and that's a technique where they learn to focus in on their breath as an anchor point, and it helps bring them into the present moment a little bit more. That's very important for sports and competition, because athletes tend to sometimes think too far ahead to the end. They think about the win, and they're in the middle of the competition, and they really need to be in that moment, focusing right then, doing their best, and that will produce the win. But if they're thinking about other things, that can interfere. So we're learning to train the mind to come back to the present moment and back to the focus. So that is one of the things we do. We also have done some imagery or visualization about their competition, what they expect from the night before to the morning of, to stepping on the mat, to facing their opponent, so that they can practice with those sorts of things ahead of time. They don't have as many opportunities to practice competition in training. Training is a different animal than competition, so we try to simulate that in some way. And then as a group, as a team, we've been talking about things that they will face, and they've been learning from each other about how to build confidence, how to face different opponents, how to essentially wrestle their best, how to keep pushing through. And each of them has a different technique. They've been sharing that with each other so that each can choose what's going to work best for them.
I know hearing you guys talk about that yesterday, the imagery session, I know that you said that they win their first match. You take them through winning their first match. Why only the first one?
Well, we had a lot to do in that imagery, because I was taking them from the arrival in Kazakhstan all the way to the first match, and it was long. And so essentially I was trying to give them a taste of every step along the way. And then what they can do on their own is create the images that they want, and if they want to imagine wrestling the final, they can do that, or if they'll come to me, I can make an audio file of a specific situation or something, that the cues that they want or the specific points that they want. So then it becomes very individualized. But in a group, a lot of what I do is a little bit generic, so so that everybody can benefit from it.
Right, makes sense. Taylor, moving back over to your position, we were talking earlier, you've said that you've been requested for like a meal plan for whole teams at certain points.
Yes.
but you said that's not how it works. How do you kind of figure out who needs what and like tailor those things to tailor those things to a specific athlete?
Yeah, so that's the fun part. All the athletes, they're their own unique individual being, right? And they all have different needs based on their body size. They're all training kind of in a similar way, but then you look at injuries and things like that. But it has to be individualized and it has to be athlete driven. So I don't force anything on anyone. I like for them to come to me. If I see where there's a need, I'll try and kind of talk with the athlete. And this trip's been great because I've got to know the athletes a lot better. We get to see them. A lot of them are resident athletes, so we get to see them back home, and you get to know them more and kind of you're able to create an individualized plan for them. And then here, it's just seeing what they need in those last little things to give them that edge on their opponents.
Yeah, and you both are USOPC employees. How long have you been there, and what other sports do you work with?
I've been there for 9 years. I just had my 9-year anniversary September 1st.
Yay!
So a while, but I've been a sports psychologist for more than 25 years in different capacities, and we both have 11 sports. We have all the acrobat and combat sports, so that keeps us pretty busy.
Wow. Didn't realize that. So do you both travel with a lot of those teams, or what does that look like for you guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of travel all summer long.
Oh yeah.
And through the rest of the year too.
Cool. Taylor, what about you? Same?
Yeah, so we're fortunate right now. I have me and Rob Skinner, and then we have another dietitian, Nicole, working with the 11 sports. So Rob's able to travel with teams, and I'm able to go with other teams when the need is there. And then Nicole's kind of making sure everything's taken care of in Colorado so that nutrition doesn't stop. We want it to keep going for all the athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll just wrap it up with this one. What do you guys think of Sicily so far in this acclimation camp, being a part of it?
Oh, it's beautiful. I wish I had a chance to see more of it. I think I'm just going to have to come back. This is what I do. I scout my vacations for the next time I'm free. But yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm super fortunate to be here. I think that we couldn't be in a better place. I've talked to some of the girls, because I know you did an earlier interview on why Sicily.
Yeah.
And some of the girls have said it's just been such a good mental break almost, that they're able to refocus and be ready for Kazakhstan. And I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Cool. Well, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.